Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday, and welcome to this educational presentation where I'm very excited to introduce a brand new trading college that we will have starting in just about the next month, and that's our Buy Low, Sell High College. This is something we've never done before because it's a specific emphasis only on buying any market, any time frame at the lowest levels, and then being able to sell, or even if you're more aggressive, to go short at the highest levels. We're going to use our best of the best tools in order to do that. For example, let's take a look at this chart right here. With one of the techniques I'll be sharing with you, here's an older chart in weekly gold, okay? Here's spot gold. As you see, it's been going down. Now, most people, if you tried to pick a bottom, would have lost a lot of money. And this is what happens with most traders. They try to pick bottoms, and it bounces for maybe a couple of days, and then the next week it's making a lower low, all right? With this particular method I'm going to be sharing with you in the college, you actually would have had a buy signal identified right here, telling you that most likely this was the bottom, and look what happened to the lows there in weekly gold. Now, this will also work to the upside as well. Here's a chart, an older chart in eBay, okay, going back to last month. As we see, we had a really nice move to the upside. Most traders would say, hey, this thing is going to keep going. It looks like, it's going to make a brand new high. It just pulled back, and now it's starting to go back up again. But with one of the techniques I'll be sharing with you only in the college, right here, a top had been identified. So at this point, you either would have, if you were long the stock, you could have said, well, I'll maybe exit my position. Perhaps I'll exit a portion of my position, or maybe I'll hold on to it and just raise my stop to protect some of my profit. Either way, those all would have been sound and good decisions, because as we see later, well, that was pretty much the high in eBay, and the market went straight down coming into this month, September, okay? So this is what we're going to be talking about, introducing the new Buy Low, Sell High College, something we've never done before at Specialist Trading. So welcome once again. My name is Steven Primo. I am the president and founder of Specialist Trading. I've been trading now for 46 years. I started my career on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange. I was on the floor for 16 years, and 9 of them I was a specialist, and that's where we get the name Specialist Trading. If you're not familiar with what a specialist does, if you ever Google those pictures of the trading floors, if you see those gentlemen and sometimes those ladies behind those large wooden podiums there making all these weird hand signals, well, those were specialists. Basically, if you wanted to buy or sell a particular equity, you had to walk up, the floor trader would walk up to the trader who was in charge, who specialized in making a market in those particular stocks. So I roughly made markets in roughly about 60 stocks, such as IBM, US Air, Waste Management. I made markets through the crash of 1987 and the bull market that followed. I left the floor in the mid-90s to manage money and to also trade my own personal trading account. And roughly about 15 years ago, I teamed up with Pro Trader Strategies with one goal in mind, and that was simply to educate traders around the world. Because if there's one thing I've learned in my over 4 decades of trading, one of the main reasons why most traders fail is because you take yourself out of the game and you allow someone or something else to make your trading decisions for you. You either have the justification by saying, well, Steve, I haven't been trading long enough like you. I don't have enough experience. Or, Steve, I don't have a big enough trading account like you or some other guys do, all right? Or you say, well, I'm not really skilled at this. I don't really know enough. So I'll let this guy in some chat room tell me what to buy or sell. Or I'll let the guy on TV tell me what I should buy or sell. Or I'll let some system, which I have no idea what it's based on, just spit out the buy and sell orders for me. This is what most traders do, and the way we've been taught. In fact, myself included, I was taught this very same way when I first started trading. And guess what? It didn't work for me for the first 2 years of my own personal trading. I thought I was going to have to leave the floor because nothing seemed to work. It wasn't until my mentors taught me the same thing that I teach my students, is that you've got to be educated and then ultimately use this education to make your own trading decisions. Because if there's one thing I've learned in my 46 years of trading, the only traders that are consistent, the only traders that are still around to this day when I first started, are the ones that make their own trading decisions. They don't go to chat rooms to find out what to do. They don't read blogs. They don't have a system that automatically spits out orders for them that they don't understand why, or they don't listen to the guys on TV. They have a simple plan in place. They've studied and researched, and then they just apply it. That's about it. Now, here's our job. As a mentor, we provide you with this information, this simple, sound, fundamental information that has stood the test of time. so that ultimately you can make your own decisions. That's what our job is as specialist trading. And you'll see that attention to educational detail in today's educational webinar. Now, before we begin, as always, we're required to share this with you. So please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to show you a lot of performance results as to what is included within this new trading college. But please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. And since we are first and foremost an educational company, all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. Now, if you'd like to get some more education on a daily basis, you can follow us on Twitter or X, the site formerly known as Twitter. And every day I post upwards of 5 or 6 different snapshots of either signals or techniques our strategies have generated. Also, little bits of financial wisdom. So there's lots of great free education on a daily basis. Please feel free to follow us on Twitter. Copy down our handle right there. Now, remember, as I stated in the opening statements, we are a little bit different from other webinars. You're not going to hear me say today what I think the market's going to do. You're not going to hear me tell you what I think the best stock is to buy or to sell or the best time frame. Those are things, once again, you have to decide. But the good news is we work with you to help you because everyone comes in with different parameters. Someone may come in and say, listen, I can't sleep at night if I have a lot of risk on the table. Okay, well, we share with you ways in which to minimize your risk. Or someone could say, hey, listen, I have a huge account. I don't have to worry about risk. So show me something that's more aggressive. Great, we have ways to do that as well. But ultimately, our job as a mentor is not to force feed you signals and trade for you. Our job and my goal is to teach you how to trade with the specialist edge. This is the same edge that was taught to me some 46 years ago that has sustained me for that amount of time, and hopefully it will be able to do that as well to you. Now, before we begin, just a few announcements. Firstly, yes, ask me as many questions as possible, but please wait till the end. I have a lot of slides to share with you. I don't want to stop for every slide. We'll be here far too long on your Wednesday afternoon. So if you have a question, write it down or try to remember it. I promise I'll get to it at the very end. Plus, I'll tell you about a great offer we have. Also, this is being recorded. So if you have to leave early or if you have any technical issues, oftentimes my tech support department has told me just log off and log back on again and it'll be resolved. But don't worry, if you still have technical issues, each and every one of you will be sent a link to this recording, which you can watch it at your own leisure, okay? So those 2 announcements before we begin. With that stated, let's begin today's educational class. All right, so we're going to be talking about the new Buy Low, Sell High college. But who exactly is this course for? Well, it's for traders, basically, who want to get the most opportune and least expensive prices. I mean, think about it. You know, you would say, well, yeah, Steve, that goes to stand without reason. Most traders want to get in and buy at the most opportune and least expensive prices. Well, that's not true. I used to think that as well. In fact, when I was first trading on the floor, I had my mentors who oftentimes would see a stock just skyrocketing for the day, and they would buy at the very high. And I'd say to myself, what are you doing? I mean, this is where you most likely want to sell. But because of their prowess and because of their experience, what they've learned and things that we now teach in our courses, they knew that it was going higher. So they would buy high and even sell higher. So oftentimes traders don't want to buy the least expensive price. They don't mind buying when price is going up because they feel it's going higher. But they're the other type of traders who want to buy when they feel it's the most opportune and the least expensive prices. So this is who this course is for. Now, it's also for traders who want to sell at the most opportune and most expensive prices. How many times have you said to yourself, wow, I had a good trade there, but I left so much on the table. I got out way too early. We're going to show you ways in which to stay in as long as possible, and you can really get as much bang for your buck and sell at the most expensive prices. It's also for traders who want to enter a trade with as little risk as possible. Because think of it, if you are buying at the lows or near the lows, most likely the price is going to go up if it's a correct setup, okay, if it works. And because it's going to go up, you have very limited risk because that's most likely the lowest it'll be for a while and it'll keep going up. Conversely, it's the same thing with selling, or if you like to go short. If you go short, how many times has this happened where you've sold something betting that that's the top, it's overbought, it's tremendously overbought in all the indicators, it's got to go lower, and you sell to short it, and it keeps going higher and higher and higher. Okay, we've all been through that before. Well, with as little risk as possible, that means you would be getting at or near the highs and know that it would not be going up that much higher after you got in. So this is who this course is for as well. It's also for traders who want to exit a trade with as much profit as possible. Once again, this goes back to the point of, how many times traders have said to themselves, gosh, I left so much on the table. Well, we want to squeeze as much bang for our buck out of trades, and this will really help you do that. It's for traders also who want to go short at or near the highs. I mean, we know we have a lot of traders who don't like to go short, and that's okay. Remember, we are an educational company. Our job is not to tell you, well, no, you have to sell short here, you have to sell short. That's your decision. Remember, once again, our job is to simply educate you so that you can decide for yourself. So there are many traders, many students we have around the world who do not like to short. But for those of you who do, this is a great way to get in as high as possible to a top at or near those highs. Now, our buy low, sell high course is also for traders who want to time their trades with precision, because so many times traders just use an idea or just some type of feeling, a non-disciplinary way to get in. They'll say, well, I feel lucky today, and I just had this feeling the market's going up, so I'm going to buy everything. It's all based on discretion. It's all based on how you feel that day, or if you had a winning day the day before, you feel lucky. But that's not really a way to trade. That's more of a gambling mentality. This is for traders who want precision. They want structure. They want a clear-cut plan in place that tells you where to enter, where to exit, and where to place your stop just in case it doesn't work out. So this is fits in perfectly for those traders who want that type of precision and that type of discipline. It's also for traders who trade with options. Now think of it. If a market is at or near its lows, oftentimes those premiums are very inexpensive. Now remember, this is not an option class per se. We're not telling you, and we're not going to tell you in the class which strike price to buy and how far out you should go. That's up to you to decide. Our job is to educate you on and highlight these high probability areas for entry. But it stands to reason, if any market you're looking at in any time frame has reached some type of bottom according to our structure and according to our plan, well, those premiums are going to be very low, and you can get in to the long side, either by buying calls or some type of spread with an upward bias. And it stands to reason the same way if you'd like to buy puts or buy some type of spread with a bias to the downside. Okay, so it's perfect for option timers. And then lastly, it's for traders who want to scan for nightly setups. I mean, think of it. If this applies to all markets and timeframes, which it will, you'll see that we'll tell you that all these techniques we're going to be sharing with you do. Well, they're going to be inundated with a lot of things if you're searching for some really nice setups. The good news is we're going to make it really simple for you and have it all one-stop shopping, where you have a scan just for and dedicated to these buying high situations and buying low situations and selling high situations. It's going to be perfect just to scan for setups that are according to these rules. Now, I know a lot of you say, well, Steve, I followed you before. In fact, I'm a student of yours, and you are always saying, never, in fact, never, ever try to pick tops and bottoms. So why is this any different? You're doing the same thing everybody else does. I know it seems similar, but in all actuality, it's not. Because let me share with you these few examples right here. All right, here's that example we talked about selling, and this one was in eBay, okay? This was roughly about a year ago, August 22. All right, so we, through the technique I'll be sharing with you in the college, we identified a topping area right here, all right? And then it just went down perfectly. But let's look at the date. This is August 2022, a year ago. Now, let's pull back, because for all intents and purposes right now, it says, yeah, we're trying to pick a top, and this goes against what you always talk about. You're always saying, don't go against the trend. Well, let's pull back again, all right? Look at the date here, August 2022. And if we pull back to a longer time frame, we're not changing the time frame. This is still a daily chart of eBay, but we're going back about a year. Let's find August 22, okay? It's right here. And here was the sell area that we identified. So basically, we're selling the high in an overall downtrend. And remember, we are not looking at a higher time frame the way other so-called educators do, where they say, oh, well, I guess you're selling, but the higher time frame is in a downtrend. No, we don't really believe in that. You can use that if you'd like to, but we never teach that, because in our experience, that's a myth. I've never found any consistency in using two different time frames. So what we just do is look at the overall picture. Let's look at that other example here. This is the one in weekly gold. Remember, we saw it was coming straight down on a weekly basis. And here in October of 22, once again, about a year ago, it took off. We picked the bottom perfectly. But once again, students would say, but you say never to try and pick a bottom. That's true if you're going against the overall trend. But let's pull back again. This is a weekly chart of gold, and we're looking at October of 2022. If we go back roughly about 2-3 years, we see that the overall trend is up. And here is October of 2022. So we were in an overall uptrend. We were buying the low in an overall uptrend. So we're never going to try and, in other words, if we have a nice uptrend here, we're never going to try and go against it. We're always trying to be in sync with what we feel is the trend at that time. And if something does seem out of whack to you and you feel like, wow, you know, I'm getting a signal here that says to buy or to sell, and to me, it seems it's out of sync with the overall trend, even though it's the same time frame. Remember, if it doesn't feel comfortable, you don't have to take it. This is not a system. This is not something where everyone is required to take the same signal every day, enter at the same place, exit at the same place, take on the same amount of risk. We are just teaching you high probability setups. You can take as many or as little as you'd like. Okay, so which tools or indicators will be featured in this course? Well, we're going to give you what we feel are our best of the best toolbox. These are, not only do we feel they're our best of the best, but they are specifically designed to identify these low areas for high probability buy setups and these high areas for high probability sell setups. Now, even though many of them may not pick the exact bottom or the exact top, they are oftentimes at the beginning of a trend that would be the place where you want to get in. And if you look back in hindsight, well, that would have been the bottom of the trend. For example, here's our first indicator. This is indicator number one we'll be talking about in the college. This is the PTS XT, and which is basically the initials for the extreme trend indicator. This tool is designed to only identify extreme trends, whether they're extreme uptrends or extreme downtrends, all right? Sometimes it has these fits and starts, but usually it does tremendously well. We've had tremendous feedback from our students around the world who are students of this, because it gets you in right at the bottom of a big move. Now, even though it may not be the bottom of the chart, it's comparable because it's at the point where it starts to take off. And that's really where you want to get in. For example, here's a chart in AVGO, all right? This was just in this last May. Now, once again, this isn't the bottom of the chart, but for all intents and purposes, nothing is really happening. We're just going sideways to drifting a little higher. But if we apply the PTS XT, we see that it paints a yellow block around this bar, okay? So this is telling us it's identified that a high probability is in effect, that an extreme trend is about to take place. And look what happened after that. In the next 2 weeks, it jumped 270 points. And remember, this is not based on any fundamental news. This is not based on any earnings. None of this is based on outward things that people are saying, or a government, economic indicators. It's based on market behavior, on the price and a few indicators, okay, these proprietary indicators. Here's another example. This one's an AIG. Once again, nothing happening, just looking at these few bar charts here, but right here, a red block was painted around this particular bar. That is the PTS XT identifying that there's a high probability that a sell, extreme move to the downside is about to happen. And look what happened. In the next 2-3 weeks, it fell 15 points, okay? Roughly about 25% of its value. Here's a weekly chart of NVDA. All right, now this isn't the bottom. It looks like it's starting to go up higher, but really nothing to give us that much information. But if we apply the PTS XT, we see that there is the first block painted around these bars. And as long as there is a yellow block painted around a bar, you are in an extreme uptrend according to the indicator. As long as there is a red block painted around, you are in an extreme downtrend. Everything else is basically just noise to the indicator. And as you can see, 320 points, basically, from the beginning of this year coming into mid-August, September. As we look at HE, we see it's starting to drift lower, but not enough really to tell us that it's going to be falling out of bed. But once again, the PTS XT painted the first red block around this bar. So you know before anyone else that most likely there's going to be a big move to the downside. And look what happened, 27 points. Now, obviously some news or some event or something happened for it to gap down. Isn't it strange that a full week in advance, 4 to 5 days in advance of that, the PTS XT had already identified an extreme move to the downside. This is how sensitive this tool is, and this is why it's only used to identify extreme moves. So even though it's not getting you in at the top up here, it's getting you in at the very beginning of the move. Okay, that was our first indicator, a great tool. We've got great reviews from it from our students around the world. Here's indicator number 2, another fantastic tool that I learned from my years on the floor. Excuse me. That is the PET-D, the Primo Early Trend Detector. Okay, the PET-D is a tool I've been using now for over 4 decades. I first started using it on the floor of the exchange. Excuse me. I'm sorry, just getting over from being under the weather, and I just have this lingering cough. The PET-D, as I said, I've been using it since my days on the floor. At that time, initially when it was on the floor, it was something we had to calculate. Very cumbersome. You had to use a hand calculator. And if you're using it on an intraday basis, there's absolutely no way you could apply it, because by the time you finished using it on one bar, well, then it's time to calculate the next bar. But we've taken all the hard work out of it for you. We've developed it into a color bar algorithm. Let me show you what I mean here. Okay, here's an older chart of Apple going to the beginning of the year. As we can see here, it looks as if we made some type of bottom, but no one knows yet. If we apply the color bar PET-D tool, we see that we've painted the bars red. When the PET-D colors a significant amount of bars red, it's telling you it's in a downtrend. But as soon as it starts to paint the bars green, it tells you now that you're in a short-term uptrend. Now, this is good information, but it's not enough for us to know that we've picked the bottom. But here's what we've done. We have found a specific pattern within this that identifies not only has the trend changed, but most likely we have secured a bottom. And that was identified right here. So this was in January 2023 of Apple. And look what happened coming into July or August, up 65 points. Okay. So this is another tool that you're going to learn in the course. Let's look at SEE, all right? Once again, this is going up higher, and it starts to fade a little bit, but for all we know, this could just be a small little retracement before it makes higher highs. But when we apply the PET-D, we see that, yes, the bars are green, and here's where it starts to turn red. This is just not enough information to tell us, though, that we've topped out. Sure, it's telling us that we're in a short-term downtrend, but for all intents and purposes, this could turn around in the next 2 or 3 bars and go right back up. It isn't until we teach you the specific pattern that it's actually identifying that most likely a top has occurred. And look what happened. It fell 10 points, or roughly about 25% in the next couple of weeks. Let's look at UPS. Same example here. It's kind of making a high-level consolidation. Doesn't really give us any clue as to what direction it wants to go. But if we apply the PET-D, we see that the last 4 bars have been red, and we have another technique telling us that most likely a top has been made. And look what happened. It fell 15 points. It went straight down coming into the end of August. And as we look at CVS, we see a specific pattern here that I'll be teaching you in the course, an entirely different one. When we add the PET-D, we see that the pattern was right here. Now, I know a lot of you would say, oh yeah, well, that's just a bearish engulfing pattern, and that's why it went down. Okay, well, remember that pattern, okay? So as we look at this right here, let's look at the next example. This is in Tesla. And if we apply the PET-D, we see the same thing. Here's a bearish engulfing pattern, right? Let's go back. We have green bars and then a bearish engulfing pattern red bar. As we go forward to Tesla, we have green bars and a bearish engulfing red bar. So that should be a sell, right? If you're just kind of, trying to reverse generate what I've shared with you. But no, because this is a specific pattern that has nothing to do with candlesticks. And as we can see, that actually was telling us that most likely a bottom has been put in. And right now, instead of relying on that candlestick pattern, you should be looking to go long. And look what happened. The market went straight up after that in Tesla. This was in June. Now you say to yourself, okay, wow, this is great. Should I sell? Well, look what we have here. Now we have our first red bar. So that's the market telling me that it wants to go lower, right? Not necessarily, because look what happened after that. It continued going higher, and you could have potentially squeezed 120 points out of this, all right? Now, coming into August, look what happened. Tesla started to fall out of bed. Now, sure, we have a confluence of red bars here, but once again, another technique I'll be sharing with you actually told you that most likely a top has been put in, and look what happened. We fell 45 points coming into the end of August. So these are all techniques I'm going to be teaching you that are specifically designed with the PET-D in mind. Now, let's go to our third and final indicator, which I believe, in my opinion, is the best of the best. It's a fairly new indicator, and we've got some rave review from our students, and this is the PSBI, or that's the abbreviation for the Primo Secret Breakout Indicator. All right, so how does this work? Well, this is specifically designed to look and identify tops and bottoms, right? Where the others were just patterns and ways of identifying perhaps a big move was going to start, and most likely it was a top or bottom. This is specifically designed to only identify those tops and bottoms and nothing else. It's not designed to look for trend change. It's not designed for looking for an extreme trend. It's only looking for breakouts either to the upside or to the downside. And that's where the tops and bottoms come in. For example, here's a chart in Amgen coming in this past year. Once again, if you had tried to buy this all the way down, you would have had a very difficult time. But if you apply the PTS XT, right here, it paints a kind of a turquoise block right around the breakout area. And look what happened. 45 points coming into last month, okay? Here's another example in Pepsi, all right? Here's a daily chart going into summer, midsummer, July, all right? Looks like it's going higher, but right here, a breakout to the downside was generated once it traded outside of that block. And look what happened, 15 points in the next couple of weeks coming into mid-August. All of these techniques, by the way, are auto-generated on the platform. SBLK looks like it's going lower, but the PSBI generated a breakout area right here. And if you look at it, just barely traded above that. So that's telling you it most likely it's going to break out. Isn't that funny how it gapped up the next day, 16 points. Now you could have bought it right here once it traded above. This is just another, once again, another example of how market behavior can often get you in prior to the news. How many times have you been interested in buying or selling something, and then news comes out and it's too late, right? You wanted to buy it, and then the news comes out and it's like, I can't buy it now, it's up 16 points. Or I can't sell it now, now the thing is gapped down 20 points. That's the beauty and the difference between fundamental and economic news as opposed to market behavior. It's been my experience in 40 years of trading that market behavior can identify these setups much more in advance than fundamental news can. And plus, it's a lot simpler. Fundamental news is extremely subjective. I know because when I was trading on the floor, I was in charge of making markets in roughly 60 stocks. So when I first started doing that, I was told you have to know all about those companies that you're trading. You have to know all about the CEOs. You have to know the earning estimates on each one of those companies. You have to know which direction they're going and how well they're doing. And that will help you to trade the stock. Well, I did that for 2 years, and guess what? Didn't work at all. I can't tell you how many times I had earnings estimates that were supposed to be good, and then the earnings estimates would come out and they'd be phenomenal. They'd be even better than I had assumed. And then guess what? It would go straight down. It would gap down. Or the opposite. Or maybe some great news would come out and the stock would gap down, or some terrible news would come out and the stock would gap up. It's just too subjective to try and figure out. But with market behavior, it's all cut and dry. I'm not guaranteeing you that it works all the time, but I've had a better success rate using market behavior in my 4 decades of trading than I ever did trading fundamental news. Now, once again, it's up to you. If you feel you must trade off fundamental news, that's your prerogative. Remember, as an educator, we're not here to tell you you can't trade this way the way so many other websites do. We're just here sharing with you and teaching you high probability ways of trading. All right, here's an example in DLTR, Dollar Tree. All right, stock had been going straight up since June, all the way up into August of last month. Now, there's absolutely no sign here that this wanted to go lower, just looking at the chart, okay? But if we apply the PSBI, it's already telling us that guess what? We're in a topping area. And once we trade below that low, it's all bets off. You should get off or sell your position or even go short, because look what happened. It fell 27 points coming into the end of last month. You'll learn in this course that there's one thing all of these indicators have in common. And this is what we're going to be sharing with you in the course, and we'll go through the curriculum. That's why we're only going to be using these three indicators, because as I said, in our opinion, the 40 years I've been trading and the 16 years I've been teaching, these are the best of the best toolbox for buying low and selling high. Okay, let's go through the college curriculum so you can understand what we're going to be covering in our live classes. We're going to be talking about our philosophy and the concepts behind buying low and selling high. Once again, everyone in the world says, well, sure, I mean, I want to buy low and I want to sell high. But trust me, not everyone can fully understand the concept behind it. And many times they'll sabotage buying low and selling high. So we're going to go through the philosophy and concepts and ways in which you can jump on board and be in sync with that style of trading. We're also going to be covering, once again, indicator number one, the PTS XT, where we're going to be looking and identifying extreme trends in all markets and time frame. Then we're going to be probably spending the most time on indicator number two, which is the PET-D. Why? Because there are so many different types of setups and patterns and different ways to precision your entries, either with bottoms or tops. And these are all things that are only specific to the PET-D color bar tool. So we'll spend a lot of time covering them in the PET-D section. And then finally, we'll cover what I feel is our most popular as well as powerful new tool. That's the PSBI, the Primo Secret Breakout Indicator, where it's just designed to find these breakouts at the lows or breakdowns at the top. Next, I'm going to give you a bonus. This is a never before seen or taught exiting technique. And after I've been studying this for a while and actually trading it on my own, you can actually use this for entries as well. So I kind of spoke too soon when I said this is an exiting technique, because you can also apply it for entries. And this is a combination of some of our indicators and tools, and we'll show you how only you can know how to use this, because this is only going to be explained in this college course, and you'll have the tools to use this. It's really designed to get you out near those highs. Remember, we said that the traders that want to be in this college are the ones that want to squeeze as much bang for their buck as possible and get out of the trade as high as they can. Well, this is a great tool for doing that. But we also have another bonus. We've put together with proprietary strategies a great scanning process. Now, as you know, on our platform, there are these different indicators and different studies and different strategies, and each one comes with their own individual way to scan. And that's great, but it makes it a little bit cumbersome when you're trading the PTS XT and then you want to go back and see, well, what are the nightly setups for the PSBI? And then you want to see, well, I want to see the hourly setups for the PET-D. So it makes it difficult. What we've done is one-stop shopping. We've created specifically for this course a buy low, sell high screening page. So you'll be able to screen just for these techniques, just for these setups that we'll be teaching you on your own screening page. So this is an extra bonus that we're putting together just for the students in the Buy Low, Sell High College. Now, these methods can be applied to stocks, as I'm sure many of you are. The majority of our students are stock traders, but you can also apply them to ETFs. You can apply them to futures. You can apply them to Forex. We have many Forex traders around the world. Commodities, this will work great on commodities because they have these big runs, as well as cryptos, okay? For example, here's a chart. We want to look, and we're looking at ETFs. This is a weekly chart of the QQQs going all the way back to 2020 when we had that big rally coming out of the pandemic, all right? No one could figure out why we were taking off, but look what happened. Right here, we're using the PET-D, and here's one of the techniques I'll be sharing with you. It generated and identified a topping formation right here. And look what happened. It fell 120 points. That represented thousands of points in the down. Right here, coming into this year, guess what? Another technique, which I'll be sharing with you, identified a bottom formation right here using the PET-D. And we've rallied since then, coming into the summer, up 100 points. Now, that's for if you're looking at ETFs, you can apply to any ETF, housing, the stock indices, doesn't matter. If you're a Forex trader, well, here's a chart of the Australian dollar. Okay, this is going back to just about a month ago, using the PSBI, where it identified a breakdown right here. And look what happened. 375 pips. That's close to $4,000 potentially that could have been captured just using the PSBI breakdown tool. If we're looking at a daily chart of the dollar yen, here's a breakout using the PSBI, a breakout setup. This was in July coming into last month, 700 pips, okay? Close to $7,000 per unit potentially that could have been generated just using this tool, not having to rely on economic indicators or what's going on across the globe. Just using this tool, you potentially could have captured that. Now, if you go to our websites at thespecialisttrading.com or Pro Trader Strategies, my sister site, you'll see what traders are saying about our many college courses we've had in the past. We've had college courses on strategies. We've had courses on different tools and methods. And these are just some of the examples. In fact, you know, a lot of people are reticent to take our colleges because they say, Steve, I haven't been trading long enough, or I don't really have enough experience, so I don't really understand this. Well, here's an example that someone gave us a testimonial that was a hedge fund trader. So we have people that have been trading for 20, 30 years. We also have people that have been trading for 20 or 30 minutes. It makes no difference. Everyone gets the same basic rules. Everyone gets the same basic education. Remember, we are first and foremost an educational company. One of the things you're not going to hear in this college is what we think the market will do. One of the things you're not going to hear is what we feel is the best way for you to trade. It's up to you to decide those things. Remember, if I just wanted to, you know, share this stuff with you and say good luck and throw you to the wolves, well, then we would just sell this and say you're on your own, you know, figure it out. That's not what we do here. We are first and foremost an educational mentoring company. And my goal is to teach you so that you can become a consistent trader using the Specialist Edge. There's enough profits made on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis, enough for everyone to go around, infinite times around the world. So why not share this with people around the world to become consistent? So our job is to teach you to become a consistent trader, because it's just there's enough profits on a daily basis for an infinite amount of traders to become consistent. Okay, here's our offer today. We want to invite you all to take our live classes, which will be starting soon in the new Buy Low, Sell High College. We're going to teach you how to enter at these lower prices and how to exit at these higher prices. Remember, you're going to get 3 of our best of the best indicators. You're going to keep your risk to a minimum. If you're an option trader, this is ideal for option timing. Remember, you can apply to all markets and time frames. I've gone to webinars before where they talk about a fantastic system or strategy they have, and they show these fantastic results. And then someone says, well, can I apply this to futures, or can I apply this to Forex? And they say, oh, no, it only works for stocks and for this particular time frame. Well, we don't believe in that. We feel if you have something that's good and that really works based on market behavior, it should be applied to all markets and all time frames. So this is not something where you'll have to buy an entirely different college course if you'd like to trade multiple markets. You can apply it to all markets, okay? You're going to have this nightly scanning ability. This is a great, great tool that we just developed for you, where you're going to have your own scanning process to just look for these buy low, sell high setups. As a special bonus, we're also going to throw in this high probability exiting technique I've never talked about before. I've never shared with anyone other than our research with Pro Trader Strategies. And we've really had some amazing results. I'm trading it and using it myself. It really works really great for squeezing out as much profits as possible. Okay, now everything you've seen today has been demonstrated and has been taken from snapshots using our platform. This is the PTS Primo charting platform. Okay, this is the educational platform I designed and developed with Pro Trader Strategies to teach you how to buy low and sell high, to really make trading simple. Well, here's what we're going to do. We really didn't talk about this. This is an extra bonus. Course members will receive a full year free of the platform. If you're going to get the platform, if you've never been a student of ours, if you've never taken it in college, you're going to get a full year free. Now, included with that comes extra bonuses as well that we haven't even brought up. You're going to get all these other tools and techniques. There's also some strategies also included that I've taken from my 4 decades plus of being on the trading floor that you won't find anywhere else. You won't find on any other platform. These are all included yours on your free 12 months with the college. Okay, so let's break this down. Remember, live classes are going to be starting soon. This is not just something with a video that we send out to you and wish you the best of luck. We want to keep a nice intimate sized class so that we can really have interaction amongst our students. So this is going to be a live over Zoom class. Now, our buy low, sell high course will initially run over $16,000. We realize that is expensive because it's our best of the best. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to discount that initially. We're not going to charge you that amount of money. We're going to charge you a pre-launch price of $14,995. Okay, you're going to save over $1,700. But guess what? We're even going to take it down even more. Now, remember, if you decide to take the class, you're going to get that full year free of the platform, which is saving you an extra couple of thousand. But on top of that, we're also including payment plans. So you don't have to even come up with $14,995. You can come up with a fraction of that, a small price, and you can still be up and running. Now, I see we have a lot of people in the class today that are previous students. In other words, they're already possibly members of one of these 3 indicators. Let's say you already have the PET D, or let's say you have the PSBI but don't have the PET D or the PTS XT. That's okay. Pro Trader Strategies is very flexible. They're there to work with you. They won't charge you the full price because you've already paid for 1 or 2 of the indicators. Let's say you even have 3 of the indicators. They're still very flexible. They'd be willing to work with you, and they can give you a great, great discount or possibly even exchange something, all right? But don't let the price scare you off. There's lots of ways to work around it. Pro Trader Strategies, my sister site, is in charge of the pricing. They're also in charge of the discounts, and they'd be more than happy to work with you. A year from today, you will have wished you became a member of the Buy Low, Sell High College. Think of how the market has reacted the last couple of weeks, okay? There were so many setups using these 3 indicators that could have helped you if we had had this college, let's say, a couple of months ago. And they're happening all the time. Take advantage of this. Finish the year out strong, become a student of mine, and a member of the Buy Low, Sell High College. Here's how to take advantage. Contact protraderstrategies.com. Once again, they are my sister site. They're in charge of all the pricing and all the discounts. Remember, if you have 1 or 2 of those indicators, or even if you have all of them already, they'd be still willing to work with you. Or if you are a brand new student and you want to get in with a payment plan and establish a small one-time payment and then establish a payment plan, they'd be more than happy to do that with you. Either way, there's absolutely no obligation to give them a call at 310-598-6677. They'd be more than happy to give you a quote, and you can think about it for a while. But remember, the classes are starting soon. So please don't waste your time thinking about it, or else once this starts, most likely the class will go back up to roughly 16,000, okay? All right, listen, we are at the end of the presentation. Before I start to cough anymore, excuse me, I apologize for that. But if you do have any questions, now's the time to ask me. Please go either to your chat box or the question and answer box in the little tabs there, little icons on your Zoom page, and type in anything you'd like me to answer. Now, that link you see, just to remind you, that link you see for going to the sign up or the info page right there is not a live link, but if you look on the chat box, that's the chat icon there. Just click that on, a little box will open up and you'll see a live link has been posted there. So you can click that on and it will automatically take you to the site, okay? We have a question, when do the classes start? Well, most likely we'll be starting within the next 2 to 3 weeks, possibly a month, but probably no more than that. So you do have that time to think about this, but remember, once we close up the class, we like to keep it intimate. Like I say, when we first started doing these colleges, we'd have, 70, 80, 100 people in a class, and it's just way too many people to really feel as if we're answering all the questions properly. So we like to keep them much smaller than that. And if we get to that very quickly, then we're going to just cut it off and just stop the live class. So if we get to that number after today's presentation, we'll most likely have the presentations very quickly within the next couple of weeks. If we're not, we'll still wait for a little bit longer, okay? Someone's asking, how long are the classes? The classes are usually anywhere from 1 to 3 hours. So on average, about 2 hours. I would say roughly 2 hours. Okay. And they're live classes. Yes. If someone says, what if I can't make the live classes? Don't worry. Everything, once again, is being recorded. So if you are not able to make a live class, you will get a recording and you'll be able to watch it at your own leisure whenever you like. Okay. Now, someone wanted to know about staying in contact. ProTrader Strategies has a great tech support. So if there's ever any question about the data issue with the platform or using the platform, how to click it on or how to use a particular indicator in terms of the application, or look that you didn't get a video, ProTrader Strategies is the one to contact, and they're very good at that. The other question most likely is anything with teaching, anything, if you have so many questions and you want to stay in contact with me after the live class, you all get my personal email address and you can contact me whenever you like via email, okay? Whether it's the weekend, whether it's going to be, prior to the opening or after the close, makes absolutely no difference. Someone's asking how many classes. Most likely it'll only be one class. Okay. If we want to break it down more, it'll be no more than 2. But I think we can cover everything in just about one class. Okay. And once again, that'll be roughly between 2 or 3 hours. Okay. Good questions. Yes. And how long is the course? The course roughly is 2 to 3 hours, and it's only one class. And most likely it will be starting within the next 3 weeks or so. Okay. On average. Okay, great question. Yes, if you want to contact and get a quote, contact ProTrader Strategies. I'll read the phone number once again for you. You can write this down, 310-598-6677. They are in charge of all the pricing and all the discounts. They can give you a quote over the phone. There's absolutely no obligation, so don't worry and feel like, well, I don't want to call because they're going to try and sell me. They'll give you the information. You can think about it, okay? They're very flexible. They're there to work with you. And also remember, if you've already purchased one of these 3 best of the best indicators, don't worry. They're there to work with you and give you a discount so that you can still attend the college, okay? Okay, good questions. As we close up here, let's take one last look at our disclaimer. And I just want to say thank you so much. We're going to give you so much information, jam-packed, specifically designed to buy at these lows and sell at these highs. If you've been struggling this year, this is a great way to finish out the year strong. So please, I look forward to all of you attending my Buy Low, Sell High College, and I look forward to seeing you all in the live classes. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and I'll see you in class. Bye-bye.